You know how your brain works, right? Sort of like this giant complex system that tries to sort everything into neat little boxes. But what happens when something comes along that doesn't fit in any box? How does your brain deal with the unexpected? Spoiler alert, it doesn't always handle it well. Sometimes it can lead to confusion or stress or even anxiety. But hey, it's all part of the journey, right? Trying to make sense of the craziness of life. So imagine this. You've been working hard on a project for weeks. You've been pouring your heart and soul into it, and finally, it's almost done. You can see the finish line, and then suddenly, your brain throws a curveball. Doubt. Yeah, that uninvited guest crashes the party and sets up camp in your mind. All those worries and insecurities that you thought you had buried, they pop up and start whispering their nasty little doubts. Suddenly you're questioning everything. Was I crazy to take this on in the first place? Will anyone even care? Am I just setting myself up for disappointment? Brain, why you gotta be like this? Why you gotta throw shade when I'm so close to the finish line? Well, the truth is that this kind of negative self-talk is totally normal. Like seriously, everyone experiences it. Heck, even the coolest, most confident people out there have to deal with it. They've just learned how to manage it. But here's the thing, doubt can be a sneaky little minx. It'll creep up on you when you least expect it. One minute you're feeling pretty stoked about your progress, and the next you're questioning whether you have what it takes to succeed. It's like a game of cat and mouse, except the cat is your inner monologue and the mouse is your self-confidence. Now, you might be wondering why this happens. Why would our brains sabotage us when we're so close to the finish line? Well, think of your brain as a big old computer. It's always looking for patterns to help predict outcomes. And when it sees something that deviates from the norm, like a new situation or a risky decision, it throws out the old heuristics. In other words, it relies on past experiences and stereotypes to try and figure out how things will go, but this can lead to some less than helpful conclusions, especially when it comes to risk. Like if your brain has seen you fail at similar attempts before, it might be hesitant to let you try again. It's like your brain is trying to protect you from getting hurt, but it doesn't always know what's best. Let me tell you a story about someone who dealt with a whole heap of doubt and managed to overcome it. Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, there was a young woman named Adele who had a dream of becoming a writer. She spent her days curled up in a corner of her favorite cafe, sipping tea and crafting stories that danced in her head. But as soon as she put pen to paper, doubt would creep in and whisper its evil suggestions. Who do you think you are, Adele? A writer. Ha! Look at that spelling. Or maybe you should be a baker. At least you can't screw up bread. Those pesky doubts were like a swarm of angry bees, stinging her confidence and making her question her abilities. Despite the constant buzz of negativity, Adele refused to give up on her dream. She knew that the only way to silence the doubts was to keep writing. So armed with a steaming mug of tea and a hefty dose of determination, she began her first novel. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The pages piled up, filled with tales of adventure and romance. But with each word Adele wrote, doubt whispered its venomous words. Yet she pressed on, determined to prove her doubters wrong. Finally, after a year of hard work and countless cups of tea, Adele finished her novel. She took a deep breath, smoothed out the pages, and began to read. The words flowed off the page, carrying readers away on a whirlwind adventure. With each passing chapter, Adele's confidence grew, and the doubts faded into the background. She had done it. She had silenced the critics and proven to herself that she could achieve anything she set her mind to. And that, my friends, is the power of resilience. See, even though Adele faced a ton of setbacks and negative thoughts, she didn't give up. She kept moving forward, one word at a time, and eventually triumphed over the haters. The moral of the story? Well, firstly, screw those negative Nancys, right? Secondly, it's never too late to pursue your goals, even if it feels like your brain is throwing every obstacle it can think of in your path. Remember, it's not the size of the dog in the fight that matters, but the size of the fight in the dog. And lastly, don't forget to appreciate the little victories. Adele didn't just write a book, she conquered her doubts and proved to herself that she could do it. So raise your glass to all the adults out there who dare to dream big and fight for their goals. May your tea be strong, your words be powerful, and your rejections just a stepping stone to greatness. And on that note, if you've made it this far into the video, I'm guessing you're a fan of resilience and life advice with a side of snarky humor. If that sounds like your cup of tea, why not stick around? Who knows what kind of trouble we'll get up to next? It's like a subscription to a comedy club that lives in your brain and fights off those pesky negative thoughts. It's free, and all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Deal. Now back to the topic at hand, dealing with doubt and uncertainty. When your brain encounters something new or risky, it'll often try to categorize it based on similar experiences you've had in the past. For example, if you've ever tried to learn a new language, you might remember struggling to memorize vocabulary words. Your brain might see this as similar to learning a new skill like playing an instrument or coding, and it might trigger those feelings of doubt and uncertainty. So how do you deal with situations like these? Well, the good news is that you have the power to reframe how you think about these situations. Instead of letting your brain's predictions control your actions, you can choose to challenge making her question her abilities. Despite the constant buzz of negativity, Adele refused to give those predictions and replaced them with more helpful thoughts. For instance, instead of letting your brain's warnings about failure hold you back, you can acknowledge those feelings and decide to act anyway. But wait, there's more. By taking action, you actually start to rewrite your brain's predictions, making it more likely that you'll succeed in the future. It's like breaking the cycle of doubt and inaction by simply starting. But wait, there's even more. By challenging your brain's predictions and taking action, you're also building your confidence and self-esteem. You're showing yourself that you can overcome challenges and achieve your goals, which makes it easier to face future obstacles with a positive mindset. And that, my friends, is a win-win situation. So next time you're faced with a new situation or a risky decision, remember that you have the power to shape your thoughts and actions. Don't let your brain's predictions hold you back. Instead, challenge them, break the cycle of doubt, and take action. You might just surprise yourself with what you're capable of. That's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's given you some insight into how your brain deals with the unexpected. If you want to learn more about how to reframe your thoughts and build your confidence, we've got plenty more videos on the channel, so click around and see what else you can find. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.